This episode is sponsored by Evolve Bootcamp, my year-round outdoor functional fitness program that delivers a sense of warmth, friendliness, and spirit, along with hellishly butt-kicking, fun-filled workouts that embody a caring attitude, evoking the idea everybody that exercises outside does so without boundaries and naturally evolves. Class begins at 6 a.m. Monday, Wednesday, or Friday. Come by for a trial class at the Boston Common if you dare. Welcome to the Evolve WMMA podcast featuring the greatest upcoming female fighters on the planet. They are women who have gone against conventional thinking to pursue their dreams. These fighters inspire, empower, and unleash excellence within a new generation of female warriors as they rise and evolve into the best possible version of themselves through the power of mixed martial arts. Hey, 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 this is Evolve WMMA, and I'm your host, Shelley Devine. This week's guest is not one who has played it safe. I interviewed her for the first time back in June 2018, where she was waiting to hear from the Ultimate Fighter 28 show to help upstart the featherweight division, only to find out a couple months later she did not make the cut along with other top-ranked featherweight contenders. But then Shannon Knapp came through and she got a title fight against Felicia Spencer for the vacant featherweight title at Invicta 32. She lost that battle to a rear naked choke late in the fourth round. Then January of this year, 2019, she fell ill to what she thought was a stomach flu. But with further investigation, doctors discovered she had a massive ovarian cyst, which potentially jeopardized her ability to fight again. Well, she recovered, and she recently fought again, headlining Invicta FC 36 for the vacant featherweight title against women's MMA pioneer Caitlin Rose Young. I'd like to welcome back to the show the new Invicta FC featherweight champion, Pam Bam Sorenson. Hey, so welcome, Pam. Congratulations. You are the new Invicta FC featherweight champ. How does it feel?
It feels pretty good. I mean, I think it's still kind of setting in, but so far it feels great.
I know. What did you feel like when you had your hands on that belt?
Oh, it was nice. It was all just kind of icing on the cake after being able to get back in there and everything. So it was,
yeah, because you've had quite a actually 2 years. We've spoken over the course of the last year, since last year in June, and there's been a lot of things that have happened in your life to lead to this. And you never wavered, even though some of the things that you've been through, and you still held on to your dream to get this belt. And things just amazingly, I mean, I know it was tough and you put in the work and everything, but you reached your goal. You know what I mean? Like, to get the belt and to be the Invicta FC champ. And it wasn't an easy ride for you, I'm sure, but I want to hear all about it, because I think the last time we spoke, it was just before your Felicia Spencer fight. And that must have been a really tough loss. And then you had surgery, and a major surgery, and you had to recover from that. And then you landed into another, I think you were going to go down in weight, but then decided you couldn't do that. And Shannon Knapp came through with another title shot, and you fought a very tough, formidable opponent. And that was a great fight. And so I want to go through it a little bit to know what you're thinking about, but thinking during the fight and how it was going, your game plan, especially going against Caitlin Young. And I mean, it was such a great fight, and just everything leading up to it, this whole step-by-step process, and just keeping your mindset. I'm so fascinated that you were able to do what you've been able to do in such a short period of time. So I don't know where to even start because it's like, wow. Let's start with the fight.
Okay.
All right. Just, stepping into the cage again. What was that like?
God, it was nice because, like, after my surgery, there was a couple of times I was kind of doubting whether I was going to be able to get back to everything. So for me, I was just so happy to even be there, because there was a chance that I wasn't going to be able to be there and get back in the cage. So like for me, just to get back in there, I had like a kind of a new mindset, a different attitude about everything. It was just, I don't know. It's hard to say, like, for a title fight, like, I didn't feel any pressure, but it really felt like I had won already. I didn't have anything to lose, whether I won or lost the fight. I mean, I was back and at 100%, and for me, that was a win already. So I was just so happy to be there.
Wow. So it was just a win to be able to fight again.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, for those of you who don't know, you had a massive. When I saw that, I don't think I couldn't even believe that was inside you. Now, did you have? I mean, it was like 3.5 pounds. It was huge. You could cup it in your hands. It was like a little. It was bigger than a softball, like a grapefruit size,
Yeah.
right? And did you have any bumps or anything there? Did you notice anything other than pain?
That's the crazy thing is that, I mean, it was there, it was likely there when I fought Felicia, and like you couldn't see it from the outside.
Yeah.
So I did have some, like I had a sensitive or like a painful spot, kind of in my lower abdomen, but you couldn't see anything from the outside because they said like like my abdominals kind of kept it pushed back.
Sure.
And then it just kind of made room for itself. It like kind of squished up all my organs on the inside to accommodate itself.
Yeah, and I can't believe you fought with that. It was probably pretty big when you fought Felicia.
Yeah. I don't know, because I kind of complained to doctors before. I was like, they have a spot, like sometimes it hurts, sometimes it doesn't. I don't like people to like touch that side of my belly.
Yeah.
And then like I would only go to the bathroom like once a week. Like, and they seemed to think it was normal.
Yeah, for like, a 90-year-old woman or something, that's
Right.
whatever. I'm like,
Yeah.
you're an athlete. You're going to be going, like regular, I'm sure, because you're eating really well. And so the doctors didn't even pick up on that. Amazing. They didn't even, no ultrasounds, none of that. I find that fascinating that,
Yeah. And the one thing that's crazy is I get fight doctors. They're not, they're not looking for ginormous cysts or masses. They feel your belly, I think, to see if anything's like enlarged. But usually before the fights, they feel your stomach. And when I went to my doctor, she could feel it right away. She was like, "Oh wow, that's not supposed to be there. That's really big." Wow. And like the fight doctors felt around and, "Oh, you're good." So
that's weird. And you have blood work too done, don't you, typically for your fights? And no markers came up, like something, like I would think something would show up blood-wise too in that.
Well, for fights, we normally only have like they call it like a combative trio. So they test for HIV and then hepatitis B and C. Okay. So they don't do like a full blood count thing.
Right. Wow. Well, I'm glad you were. I mean, I read a couple articles where you did state that you were afraid that because of the incision, and it's a big incision. And I mean, I understand that. I've had 2 C-sections, but I was cut horizontally. You're cut vertically, and that affects. I mean, my abs are affected, but for you as a fighter to come back in 9 months.
Yeah.
From that's if people don't realize, it's major surgery, and you were in the hospital for like how many days or weeks after? Were you in for at least after, or?
I was only in the hospital, I think, for 2 days.
Oh my God.
6 weeks of like total bed rest after that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. And then when you get up and ran or anything like that, you couldn't do that, I bet, because there's so much, like, to actually jog or to move, you feel like you're going to rip yourself open, don't you?
Yeah, for the first 6 weeks, all I could do is go for 2 like short walks a day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and even that, like at times, was it was a struggle because my boyfriend Tom would make fun of me because he would take me to the store to go for a walk since it was
Yeah.
Minnesota in the
Yeah.
middle of winter. It was like 30 below. So
Oh my gosh.
yeah, so we'd go to like the hardware store, we'd go to like Target and go for a
Uh-huh.
walk, and he would make fun of me because I walked so slow. Because like people
Yeah.
don't think about it, even walking,
All
it
those
pulls on your abdominals.
Yeah.
So like I was taking these tiny little shuffle steps, and I was like, I can't take any bigger steps. I can't walk any faster.
Wow. I mean, I can definitely empathize with how it is to get up and walk and to move after an abdominal surgery like that. And it is not easy. And I'm amazed that you were able to do the takedowns that you did. I don't know I lost count how many takedowns you did in your last fight against Caitlin Young. I mean, there were a lot of them. So that's a lot of core strength to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and she's not, I can't imagine she was easy to take down, like, I mean, you went in
No.
and, you're dumping her, but still.
Yeah, and people. I feel like people don't give Caitlin enough credit. They just say, "Oh, she's just a Muay Thai person," and
No,
it's
she's
like
not.
she didn't go down easily.
No.
And and she stuffed, I don't know how many of my shots,
Yeah.
especially the double leg. She was able to, and it even caught me off guard. I was like, all right, we're gonna have to really work to get her down. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you took her down several times, but it didn't look easy, but I'm amazed that you were able to do it that many times after having, like major abdominal surgery, because I mean, like, that's challenging, just being able
yeah,
to take down another fighter like that. I can't imagine what your fight camp must have been like,
oh,
coming back and I mean, I mean, some people, it's like, 6 months just to get, like, going up and down stairs normally, to
yeah,
have major surgeries like that. And for you to be able to do that and maneuver and move and hold your own and throw punches and go to the ground the way you did. I'm like, wow, that was amazing. An amazing performance. You had a tough opponent, and yeah, it was completely amazing. So how did you feel afterwards, like physically? How did you feel?
um, I mean, I felt good. I was obviously tired, and I I was joking afterwards, like my lip was so swollen. It's like I had this perma like duck face that I couldn't stop doing. Or I think that's what they call it. The girls that take selfies and they're like,
Oh,
like
like they had bee stings all on there.
yeah,
Like they puff
I
up their
was
lips.
that.
I don't know what they do. I don't know how they do it. I can't do it.
I don't know, but I looked in the mirror and I was like, oh my gosh, I've turned into everything that I hate, and I can't even.
Oh no. Oh no. So during the fight, I think I don't know if it was the first, what was it, the first round, second round? Well, you guys did piggyback rides. This seems to be a thing that happens with you. But then I don't know if it was the first or second round, you were down, both hands and knees down, and I think Caitlin was waiting for you to get up, and she needs you pretty good. Like, what was that like to catch a knee like that?
It actually wasn't. It was so early in the fight. It was right, like halfway through the first round, and
Yeah.
it happens. I mean, when I fought Jan Finney, I got docked a point for an illegal knee too.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so I understand it's not intentional. It's just you're
Yeah.
so excited, your adrenaline's going, and you don't always wait until
Right.
the other person's up. Like, yeah,
Yeah, it
I just
didn't seem
I've
like
done
a
the same.
big deal. You didn't have any animosity, like, oh, that was a cheap shot. And I know it wasn't, because I know Caitlin and I know you guys are friends. But I mean, to other people, it could appear to be, oh, cheap shot. you know?
Yeah. It would have been different if it had, like, let's say it cut me or really rocked me, then,
Yeah.
you know, I would have been worried, but it wasn't that bad, and it was kind of like off to the side. So I was like,
Yeah.
I think we're okay.
Oh, good. It looked bad when I was watching. I was like, oh God. And whenever I see you guys, I'm like, oh. I mean, I love watching it, but then I get like, oh shit, that must have killed. You know, you threw some good punches, good strikes, some great kicks. I guess I didn't expect, like, I expected more of the ground stuff and everything from you. I didn't expect the stand up, like with Caitlin, and like how it went back and forth. I was like, wow, this is like really an awesome fight. I mean, you guys were just totally on top, like stand up, down to the ground, stand up. You had Caitlin's back a couple, actually several times. Were you like, just how hard was it to get, like, sink in a choke or something like that? Was it really challenging to try and get that?
It was. I I hate to say I did not like the gloves we had on. But we were
Oh,
both in the same boat. That's
yeah,
why it's not that big of a deal, because like I
yeah,
can imagine if she had had my back, it probably would have been challenging for her to get her
yeah.
hand up there too. Um,
What was it about the
but
gloves? Like, did they have somebody different supplying gloves this time?
I don't know which. Yeah, they were gloves that I had never used before.
Mhm.
Because before we had used either Hayabusa or the Pro Force gloves, and these actually had the Invicta symbol on them, so I don't even
Mhm.
know what brand they were. But there's just, even when I was hitting pads in the back, like,
Mm,
I don't know, and maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just picky, but I like,
yeah.
I didn't really like the feel of them.
Mhm.
But it was what it was. They did serve their intended purposes, but I just felt like they were a little bulkier and kind of in the way.
Right.
So yeah, as much as I got under the chin a couple of times, and then I was like, oh, and then it popped out. So
Oh, really?
yeah, it just wasn't gonna. I could
Oh,
tell, like, I think by the third round, I was like, well, I can get on her back and just maintain control, but no, I didn't feel like I was going to get a finish, at least not by a rear naked choke.
right, right. It was tough. I'm like, there's several times I thought you were gonna get it, and then it was like, oh man, you guys, it was a tough fight. I mean, like, it was an awesome fight. Um, so how do you see, what's going to be next for you? Like, let's see, we're August, September, October, November. Do you think you'll be defending before the end of the year, defending your title?
I mean, I hope so. There's just so much. So I don't know. I kind of like, a part of me is always hoping that, historically they've always pulled the champs over to the UFC. So
Yeah.
a part of me is hoping that'll happen, but at the
Mm.
same time, I mean, you've really got to feel bad for Shannon Knapp that all of her champions are getting taken away. And
Yeah,
like,
I'm amazed that her promotion is surviving that, and she's still open to that. I feel like at some point that's going to have to change.
mhm.
Um, uh, the UFC still kind of draws from that, which is good. It's a good relationship, but eventually, who knows how that's going to be? Like it.
Yeah, and maybe that's why they started the Phoenix Rising tournaments, because it's a good way to get people
Yeah.
fight. They can get experience, and then you know the winner of that. I mean, oh, and was it Brianna Van Buren?
Brianna. But
Yeah,
I mean, she immediately like went into the UFC. I mean, now she can still defend her. Can she still defend her title?
no,
She's gone, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
So
so
that's a vacated belt. Yeah.
yeah, it is vacated. So yeah, and then who knows? She lost that fight in the UFC, I think. Did she
No,
lose?
she actually won.
Oh
She
no, she
beat.
won that. I'm thinking of Chantel Coates. I'm just thinking somebody else was fighting recently, and I get the two. I don't know why I get them both confused. It's because I interviewed them at the same time. But
Oh,
Brianna, um, yeah, she did well, so she has an opportunity to fight again. But it's like, okay, so now we got to find another champ for that division. I mean, she went right through the whole division though.
yeah. So it's hard. So maybe they're just gonna stay with doing more tournaments, or
Yeah.
I don't know what they're planning on doing. I mean, there's always the atom weight, since the UFC doesn't have atom weights yet, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that would be cool. So, I mean, Cyborg's contract is, I know you've always wanted to have that fight.
Hmm.
Being the champ, would you take that fight where she's lost? Or would you still take that fight
Yeah,
if she came to Invicta?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, if anybody is gonna deserve a title shot when it's their first fight back with the promotion, it's probably her.
Yeah.
Losing one to Amanda Nunes, it doesn't make her any less deserving or any less
Right.
worthy. So absolutely.
That's generous. That's super generous too for you to say that, to say that, yeah, you would take that fight, because I mean, we have Bellator and we have Julia Budd that just fought. She could go there if they wanted to pick her up. It sounded like Julia was interested in fighting her, but she said she wanted to fight. I forgot the girl that's over, another woman over in Japan who looked really tough. She kind of called her out.
She did say she wants to fight Gabby Garcia.
Gabby, yep.
Fight. Gabby's like 225 pounds.
Yeah.
She's
So.
cute. And Cyborg's friend and training partner.
Wow, I didn't know she was that big, and I didn't know.
6'3", I think.
Wow.
She's a big woman, yeah.
That doesn't make sense that Julia Budd would want to fight her, right? Does it?
I think I don't know. I actually think Julia could win that fight, and I think that's why she wants it, because it'd be a great win for her. And Gabby Garcia is a world champion black belt in jiu-jitsu.
Right. Yeah. Wow. But yeah, I'm like, why wouldn't you? I'm thinking, okay, I'd like to see. I mean, I know she said she wanted to fight Cyborg if they made that deal. So, and then I don't know if you saw it, but PFL, I think Kayla Harrison is still the featherweight champ, or is she bantamweight?
They're at lightweight, so they're 155.
Oh, they're lightweight. Oh,
yeah, they're still in the middle of their tournament. They don't have a winner yet.
Oh, okay. So I haven't followed PFL at all, but I was under the impression that she wanted a whack at Chris Cyborg too.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking too. And I thought it was funny. I don't know. Did you see the Sarah Kaufman meme? Sarah Kaufman, she put out a video, and she was like, I'm in the PFL social media. Did you see this? And I don't know what's going on there. It's like, I gotta ask. I don't know if anybody knows. She went up, and they have the posters of all the fighters, and she's a champ. And so she went up and took down. She's like, I'm the number one, whatever, and I should be I should be up here, and I don't see my poster up here. And so she took down Kayla Harrison's poster and tossed it.
Well, I don't really blame her, because
and then she put hers up.
Because Sarah's been around MMA for a very long time, and
she's
kind of paid her dues, and she's the number one seed, I think, she's seated over Kayla Harrison.
Yeah.
But I mean, PFL was kind of trying to build that division around Kayla, so you can't really do too much.
Yeah.
But I can understand Sarah's frustration, though.
Yeah, so she did, and we were like, I was like, all right, PFL, get your act together. So I was wondering if there would be anything there too, and I mean, we started out on this journey together in interviewing, you and I. And I just remember. The big Cyborg. You wanted that really bad. I mean, you wanted the belt, but that to me was your kind of like your next, or you were shooting for that. You wanted the UFC belt too. Does that matter to you? Would you still would you want to fight Amanda Nunes?
Yeah, I mean, that would be a huge fight. I would never. You'd have to be crazy to turn that down.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just I want to see them actually build the division
Yeah.
and not just have a champion of a 4 or 5 person division.
Right. So yeah. So I'm kind of wondering what will be next for Pam. I'm eager to see what's going to come up for you in the next, few months, several months. What will, if this year you'll end up you'll have to defend your title or not. I don't know if, Shannon Knapp will have that in the game plan or whatever, because it's usually they got like a few months before they decide who they're going to have.
Yeah,
And we'll be into next year.
In October, I'm actually going to Bosnia in October to compete in the kickboxing world championships. So
wow.
Hoping between the end of October, maybe like November, December, I can still get another MMA fight in there somewhere.
Oh, cool. So how is that? Like the kickboxing tournament, how did that get set up? And do you have an opponent already, or is it, you'll fight?
Tournament style. Yeah. So and it should be a lot of fun. I mean, my striking coach has been involved with it's a WACO, so the organization that does kind of all the kickboxing events around the world. So the Olympic Committee now recognizes kickboxing as a sport, although kickboxing is not in the Olympics yet, but it's kind of a step in the right direction. So we're hoping that we're going to have a really big turnout now that there's the potential for kickboxing to be in the Olympics.
Wow.
So the head coach of the team, he was really hoping to build a strong women's team and for once go over there. And I feel like the U.S. usually doesn't have a very strong showing. So we're hoping that this year we will.
That sounds amazing. So how can we get, will it be televised, or do you know? No, well, you gotta post about this, because I'm actually really curious about this, because this is the first time I heard anything about this.
I'll definitely be posting stuff on my social media, and I'll find out if there's a way to watch it.
Yeah.
Sure. I was more like, don't they bomb people in Bosnia?
I know.
So, but they have me convinced that we're gonna be safe.
Oh.
More bombing over there.
So. Oh, did Caitlin know about it at all?
Yeah, I don't think she obviously she has great kickboxing, but they have a different like scoring over there. Like it's not 10-8 round or 10-9, 10-8 rounds. They do the cumulative scoring. So it's I don't think it's Caitlin's style.
I see. Wow. Yeah. So have you ever been in a tournament like this before?
Not this format. Like I've competed in Muay Thai tournaments, but I've never done any for WACO, like with the different scoring system, and then it have some different rules. It's not Muay Thai. It's either going to be low kick or K1.
Wow, that sounds exciting. And then too, you're going to be up in your game by doing that, right? For sure. Like you just refine your skills.
Yeah, you go over there, and some of those Europeans, like they're no joke. So I'm really excited to kind of get a chance to work on certain things and improve on my striking.
So what will have you looked at any video of some of these fighters that are over there that are just doing? So you have no
many
idea.
of them. I mean, there can be. It's not going to be like 2 or 3 people. There can be people can still sign up, but I know my coach had said there are some divisions that are going to have 20, 25, 30 people in it.
Wow.
And yeah, at that point, that's just too many people to worry about.
Yeah,
you know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to worry about me doing my thing. So
yeah, well, it's tournament style too. So you really, I mean, you're training for, depending on what part of the world that, I mean, you're coming from the States, and so they could be coming from wherever, right? Like all over and different backgrounds and stuff. I'm sure, some will probably have Muay Thai, some American kickboxing or whatever, or I don't even know. Like it's not something that I've actually really followed that much. So that sounds really cool though. I didn't know that they had anything like that in Bosnia. So that sounds really neat.
Yeah, it's a fun experience. And I've been over to Europe before, but I've never been to Bosnia. So forward to go see what's around there.
Yeah, no kidding, right? I would imagine because of their history where they did have some wars and their political whatever was going on over there. They had some really bad, I thought, genocide and stuff in Bosnia years ago, right?
Yeah. Well, and I think we bombed the crap out of them. That's why I was like, do I want to go over there as an American when
Yeah.
we weren't very, I mean, we did it because we had to, but
Yeah. 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 So, I mean, like that'll be interesting. You'll get a firsthand account of, what's going on in other parts, in other regions of the world. I don't know if you had listened to the podcast with Caitlin, and she talked, we talked at length at her traveling with military forces and stuff. And, she saw, I'm sure, a lot of things. It would have been, kind of cool to hear you two back and forth. Maybe this would be a good episode, next time to have you guys come on, and talk about your worldly adventures, because it's pretty exciting to be able to have those opportunities as a fighter, and that you financially can do that. I mean, is there a big purse at this, or is there no purse, just this belt and or medals and stuff like that for this tournament?
So some other countries, their government gives them like stipends for training, and they pay for their whole way out there. But here in America, we don't do that. At least not for kickboxing yet. So we all have to pay our own way out there, and we're actually paying to go out there and do it.
Wow. Yeah, I've heard that from some of the other girls that are doing the Muay Thai tournaments in the States, that they've done that. So it's cool, though. I think it's good for you fighters, especially at the level that you're at now, and you're globally known. I'm sure, like there's people all over the world that know who you are, and to be able to go and see other regions of the world, and who knows how, you as a professional fighter, as a professional athlete, who knows what direction you'll go in once you, kind of move on from this as you get older. So you could be in positions that you just never know, what the opportunities will be, become. I mean, I look at Misha Tate. I mean, she's over in Japan now, right? Like, yes. She works for one, or Evolve MMA, but one championship,
Yeah.
So you don't know. And so it's good to be, like, oh, I got to go see what's going on out there. Right.
Yeah. It's fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, you got like a nice, did you get a nice cut there?
Yeah, there was 2 little cuts, but yeah, it's not. I feel like I have a couple of spots on my face that get cut in like every fight. Like you look at them and my face is gonna bleed. So
I don't notice that, and it didn't show up in any of your photographs, like your photo sessions or anything like that. It doesn't show. Did you get very many stitches, or for there?
No, they glued it.
They glued it. Cool. Yeah, because I was like, ooh, thank God it's below the eye and not above the eye when that opened up.
Yeah.
It's always good to see a little blood in a fight, though.
Yeah, and my face bleeds a lot. I don't know why, but I bleed in like every. So.
Yeah. What's been your most, I guess, I don't know how to say it, maybe your worst injury that you've received, or the hardest punch or something that you've received in a fight?
A fight?
When you've been in the cage.
I don't know. Caitlin's definitely up there. She hits pretty hard. I would say it would have to be between her and when I fought Ediana Gomes. But I think Caitlin probably hit a little bit harder than.
What were her leg kicks like? Because her last fight, or maybe her last 2 fights, when she kicked some of her opponents, I was like, oh my God, that had to have killed the next day.
Yeah, I mean, they were definitely strong, but we I come from a Muay Thai gym too, so we do a lot of. So I think maybe we're just a little more conditioned for him. I mean, it's the same with granted, like I don't throw as many leg kicks as Caitlin does, but I feel like when we kick each other, like after a while they add up, but at first we're like, oh,
Yeah.
we go through this every day.
Yeah, you threw some vicious ones. You threw some vicious kicks. I was like, oh man, I really didn't expect that from you. I was expecting, the striking and then the takedowns and then the grappling. That's what I expected to see. And then I was like, oh my gosh, you threw a doozy of a kick. I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah, well, and part of the goal was obviously the end goal is always to win the fight, but no matter who won, no matter who lost, like I really wanted to go out there and put on a good fight, a good complete MMA fight. And I mean, because in a perfect world, Caitlin and I would both be going to the UFC because we did. I think we put on a good, entertaining fight, better than some of the fights they have going on over there now.
Yeah.
So
you guys were back and forth. I mean, like up and down. You dominated the fight, though. I felt like you completely dominated the fight. Those takedowns were amazing, and and then you held her there, and so but yeah, I mean, you guys went back and forth, up and down. It was very well rounded in the striking and then on the ground and stuff. Like, I mean, like for a fight, an overall fight, you saw everything. There was no like, somebody up against the cage forever and you're like, oh my God, stop. As a fan, you want them to move or you want them to do something. So it was really good. So you guys were joking about the piggyback.
Yes, because like I remember looking at the photo. Oopsies. Am I here?
Yep, you're here now.
Oh, I think my phone's just dying. But yeah. So when Felicia fought me, or she did the same thing to me. So I was looking at the pictures from my fight with Felicia, and of course, there's a picture of me carrying Felicia across the cage on my back.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Caitlin was like, I didn't know you like piggyback rides so much because I did the same thing to Caitlin. It's like, well, Felicia did it to me and it just kind of looked fun. So yeah, we were joking that now Caitlin has to do it to her next opponent and tell her to
pass it on. I know, right?
Yeah.
I know. I thought that was really cute. I was like, oh my gosh, that actually would be really something. So we're going to have to follow that. And then we'll, like if there's another one, I'm going to have to look and see if there's any pictures. We'll have to put those two together and then we'll have to keep adding on as it progresses.
Yeah, I have both of them. Send them to you later.
That's awesome. That's really funny. So I had some fun questions for you.
Okay.
If you had a superpower, what would it be?
It would be to be able to eat whatever I wanted and not gain weight.
Ooh, you know exactly what would you eat? What would be the thing that you would eat like that you typically aren't eating as a fighter? That you really like to, huh?
I'm not into like chocolate and stuff like that, but I love sugar. I love anything that's fruit flavored. I love like gummy worms, gummy bears, Sour Patch Kids.
Oh yeah. I could see that. Those are good. Those are good. Now I just asked you what the most painful injury, and you were saying Caitlin kicking you like that was the most painful.
Like I think that was the hardest punch. The most painful injury. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That's a hard. Like I've kind of been fortunate where I don't really get injured very often. I know when I fought, it was an amateur fight when I fought Amber Leibrock. So they had made me take my contacts out before I went in there, and this was before I had eye correction surgery. So, before I had surgery, my uncorrected vision was 10/400, and so I got in the cage and I was like,
could you see anything?
I couldn't see the ref. I went out and like I haven't watched the fight, but some of my
friends go back and watch it. You'd be like blindfolded.
Yeah, they were like, you were punching, and she was like, wasn't anywhere near where you were punching, and because like they didn't know what was going on when they were watching it live. They're like, what is she doing? And I'm like, yeah, I couldn't see, so I just kind of went out there. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna go punch at
That's something I didn't know about you. That's pretty funny. I mean, like now I got to go like look at it and watch and see like what was happening there. And it's like, because she can't see.
I've only seen a couple pictures because I think eventually like she ended up getting a TKO, and I think that's where the fight where my nose was broken.
Ah, isn't that
that was pretty rough. But I don't think I would take that fight back though, because that's when I learned that some commissions, if they don't care if you can't see or not, they're just like, take your contacts out. You can't fight with those in. And
well, so I'm like, it kind of makes sense that you can't really fight with those in, right?
Yeah, but what happens when they fall out? And
yeah, right.
And I got it. I could understand, the old school contacts that are hard contact lenses.
Yeah, but they have the
soft. Yeah, the soft ones, they'll either rip and fall out, or it's not like
and you can't find them. They're not going to cut anybody or anything like that, or
they're not going to do a whole lot of damage.
Yeah,
but it was a learning experience. So
wow, I don't wonder what they do now. I mean, do all fighters have like really good vision?
I'm assuming most of them get it fixed, or either that or they only fight in states where they can wear their contacts. Yeah,
wow. That never crossed my mind, because you never typically, I mean, do I know any fighters that wear glasses? I don't know any fighters that wear glasses. That they all have, I'm assuming, good vision. I don't even know if they wear contacts. That's too funny. That never even freaking crossed my mind.
Yeah, it didn't cross my mind until then either.
Wow, right? Wow. If you could pick a fight with anyone, living or dead, who would it be?
Man, I don't know. I feel like I should pick somebody who was bad so I can beat him up. I'd fight Hitler. As long as he didn't get any guns or any of his little soldiers. If it was just one-on-one, I'll fight Hitler.
Yeah, I think he'd kick his ass. I think he's probably kind of a bit of a coward. He probably wouldn't even take the fight. That's a good one.
He'd go run into the mountains in his little home.
Yeah. All right. So if you were stuck on a deserted island, what 3 items do you bring and why?
I would bring my goon, because I don't know how to do anything in the wilderness. So
what is it?
Oh, but Tom, my goon.
Oh, your goon. I'm like, okay, who's the goon?
Yeah, otherwise I'd probably be a goner in the first day. So I would bring him matches. Right? I feel like you need matches to start a fire, because I don't know how to start a fire. And a knife.
That sounds good.
That I can stab things.
Stab things, catch things. You can make a spear and stab fish so you can have food.
Yeah. See, but then I would need Tom to clean the fish, because I don't know how to do that.
I know. Well, you bring in practical things, I guess. You have company.
Yeah.
You have something, a weapon or something to whittle things with, or to make, whatever you need to cut things. And then of course fire to cook, or maybe to send out smoke signals.
Yeah, that's probably what I do.
To get off.
That's my best bet, is just to find a way off the island.
Yeah, mine, well, I didn't really say, what 3 items. I was like, well, items tend to be small items or whatever, but I think I would bring a boat.
Yeah.
Gasoline. Enough gasoline to get to a solid continent.
Yeah.
and I don't know, maybe I don't know what those would be mine, but I don't know what the other, maybe company, somebody, who is good in the, good at reading maps and the stars to get you home or something. Yeah. I don't know.
I know that's good in survival situations.
Yeah. Somebody who's good in survival situations, who has like matches, carries them. You know, I just keep adding on.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh geez. If you could give your old self, like from 10 years ago, any advice, knowing what you know now, what would you tell her?
I would tell her to stop being an idiot.
Why?
Like,
Why are you
stay
not
in
an idiot?
school. No, I would go back and I would tell myself to start training sooner. Because I didn't start training until I was 25. So if I could have started when I was more like 22, 23,
Hmm.
and maybe that would have kept me out of some trouble.
What kind of trouble are you in?
I used to like to party and drink and
Hmm.
yeah.
I think we all go through that phase.
Yeah.
I liked that too in my younger
Yeah.
years. Liked it
But if
in
I
my
could
older
go
years.
back,
But
if I
what
could
would
go
you
back,
say?
I would skip that phase.
Yeah. 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 You get into a little bit of trouble here and there with whatever. Yeah, I know. Um, who, okay. Who is your favorite female MMA fighter of all time, I guess, and why?
All time. I don't know. um,
Well, if you could, if it was a toss up, who would it be between? Like, if you, it could be. It doesn't even have to be MMA fighter. Maybe there was some fighter, long ago that inspired you, like a boxer or kickboxer or something like that. They don't have to necessarily be
you
MMA.
know, I think it would actually be a toss up between probably Chris Cyborg and even Caitlin Young. So, when even before I first started fighting, when I first started training, and I was kind of looking at MMA, I wanted to watch women's fights.
Mhm.
And I remember Cyborg was big back then, so I remember watching her. But then I remember watching Caitlin because she was from here in Minnesota. And
Mm.
it was really cool for me. I hadn't even had my first fight yet. I've only done like some cardio kickboxing classes, to be able to watch Caitlin and be
Mhm.
like, oh, she's from like 15 minutes away, and look at what she's doing. And like, if she can do it, I can do it.
Wow. It's so inspiring when you do have another female that's close to you,
Yeah.
lives close, and you can actually watch them, like, I mean, locally, if she was fighting locally or whatever, or something, you hear about them and it just makes the world a smaller place. And you feel
Yeah.
like, oh, she can do it, I can do it. She's out in the world, man. Right?
Yeah. Even like I would see, even if she wasn't competing, I would see her at local events.
Hmm.
And it's a little different when you can actually meet them and talk to them and see them in person on a semi-regular basis.
Yeah, and their challenges are very similar, in some ways to what yours are. So you have somebody that you can identify with, and that's so important, I think, in anything that we do. It doesn't matter if you're in like a, training as a fighter, but in life in general, you need to feel like you belong, or you're like, oh, there's other people that are doing this, and you need an example of it in front of you, so you could say, okay, I can compare a little bit. I don't want to be like them exactly, but there's that opportunity for me. And I think that's what's so marvelous about women's mixed martial arts is that, there's been this, transition into this amazing opportunity for women to fight. And you're a part of that now, and you had, like, these goals and these dreams, and you're fulfilling them. And I mean, what has it been like for you too? Like, I mean, everything that you've been through. I mean, this was your 5th title shot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know what the journey's been. It's been since 2000, I think, what, 12 for you?
Yeah.
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 So, all these years you've been on this trajectory into, where you are now. You finally got the title, and you're like, wow, the hard work. I mean, what would you say to somebody who's like, some little girl that was, I mean, when did you start? How old were you when you started this?
I was like 24, 25.
So you were on the later side. Men, what, we lost you. Okay.
Oh, you're
Men,
at
men
100%.
are, the guys are fighting, they're starting, when they're in their teens, and then they fight. And there's some women that have been doing that nowadays. But to see somebody who's maybe in high school, and they're playing a sport or whatever, maybe they do have women's wrestling in high school or something. But what would you tell these women that are watching you, because they are watching you now?
Yeah, I would say I think the hardest hurdle to overcome is, like, it's all mental. I mean, it's easy to go and get your workouts in and whatnot, but I mean, the mental part is what's harder when you have little bumps and bruises, or like when I had surgery, or something happens in your life. A lot of it is just kind of telling yourself you can do it, or you're worthy of doing it. I think, at least for me, that's been the hardest part, is kind of like in convincing yourself of that, saying like, I don't have to take no as an answer. If you won't give me what I want, or you won't train me how I want to train, I'm gonna go somewhere else, or like I'm gonna go to the next person. Like, don't take no for an answer. And just kind of believe in yourself.
Yeah. Well, it's a testament to you, because I mean, you went from a loss, then major surgery, and to keep like the mindset and the focus to know that I am going to fight again, even though you had some doubts there. How did you, like, I mean, you must have had a point of like, oh shit, what if I can't do this? Because you're feeling your body the first time with a major surgery, and you're like, I'm having trouble walking. I mean,
Yeah.
how did you, get from that mind? Because I know, like, that little voice seeps in, and you're like, shit, I'm not going to be able to do this anymore. And how
Yeah.
did you overcome that?
It's hard, because I had to turn down a fight earlier in the year. I knew what just wasn't ready, and that's when Shannon had said, she didn't say it was going to be a title fight, but she said, well, we'll definitely make room for you on the August card.
Hmm.
And I was like, all right. But my coach had kind of said, you either got to start doing it, or you can't do it yet. Like, you're either ready to train for a fight in August, or you can't do it. Either way is fine. But it's so hard coming back from surgery. You remember how painful things were at first, like the first time somebody else, or like the dog brushes by your belly, and you remember like, God, that hurt. I don't want anybody to kick my belly, or to touch it, or to knee it, or do anything else. And so I kind of had to tell myself, like, all right, Monday I'm coming into the gym, and I'm not babying anything. We're just going to do it. And it's like my coach said, I can either do it and I can fight, or I can't, and we have to put it off a little bit longer. And it was, like I was saying, it was all just mental. I had to go in there and just let it happen. And then I realized at the end of the day, I was like, I'm fine. It doesn't hurt. I was just so afraid that it was going to hurt. And so kind of getting over that mental hurdle of, we got to push through it and just kind of go for it.
Yeah. The fear of feeling that pain again, that's what was deterring you, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Like the worry, the concern, the fear of, oh my God, if I get hit, or like you said, the brush up against. And that is like, I mean, like, like, so like, they have those little faces, that little, happy face, I feel good,
Yeah.
and then they have that, ooh, like, and you're like, it's like below that, ooh,
Yeah.
I don't want to feel that again. I mean,
Yeah.
like, you comparatively, okay, getting punched, this is just for people who are listening to this, is getting punched in the face or punched in the nose isn't as bad as getting cut open and what you went through. Not even like a smidge.
Yeah.
Not even a smidge.
It's hard for people who have not had abdominal surgery.
Yeah.
I can't even begin to describe what it was like.
Yeah. You don't want anybody near you. You're so like, oh my God, don't even like, you don't even want the air going across your body of them, like, or waving a hand over your abdomen or anything. Like, you don't want to be touched or have anything come near you. And then two, to get up and walk, and to, move your body, and be afraid that you're going to tweak something internally and it's going to cause that sensation of fear. So you were overcoming that too. Never mind,
Yeah.
like stepping. Did you have that fear when you were getting back in the cage? Like when you were, going to fight that, like, if Caitlin hit you and you're like, shit,
Um,
and turning your
yeah,
body.
I actually thought that she was going to target my body more than she did.
Mm,
So, we had practiced that. We had worked on it and made sure that I was 100% ready. So
mm.
in the case that she did just come in with the mentality that she was just going to punch me in the body, it was just fine.
Yeah, good. Well, that's good. So you really were just sucking it up.
Yeah. I
You
had to
did.
for a couple and then after a while I was like, no, I think we're all right.
Yeah, and you had to get used to being all right again.
Yeah.
Sounds like, suck it up. And I know I'm going to be okay, instead of going the other side of it. And no, I'm not going to be okay, which was a hairline split decision, I think.
Yeah.
You could have gone either way. Don't you think?
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah. That's an honest, it's truly an honest answer, because I think, just from what I know, what it feels like physically, what you went through, I think I could be either way on that spectrum, and the fear of feeling pain again, that kind of pain is definitely a deterrent, for sure.
Yes.
Well, I'm glad you held, and you went for it, and you decided to go the other way, and just, suck it up, and get in there and you decided, I am going to be healthy, and I am going to be pain free, and I'm going to get in there and kick some ass.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So, what female fighter do you love to hate, and why? This is my favorite question.
Megan Anderson.
Ooh.
And
Oh.
it's just, I can't remember when it was. I think in person she's actually not horrible. I think she says some things, or kind of puts on a front, almost like you have to
Yeah.
to get some recognition and whatnot. But I just remembered, since I saw it was a post a long time ago on Twitter. It was after Felicia was either like 3-0 or 4-0 as a pro, and she had commented saying that she would love a fight with Megan. And Megan came back and told her to stay in her own lane and called her a little girl. And I was just watching it, and I didn't even know Felicia at the time, but I was like,
Wow.
damn, that's rude.
Yeah, because
And
Felicia is very accomplished.
mm-hmm.
To kind of say that to her.
Yeah, I thought it was just,
Uh,
and Felicia handled it really well. And
yeah.
I can't remember how it ended up,
Wow.
how it ended or anything, but I just remembered seeing that comment from Megan, and I was like, wow, she's kind of a bitch.
Oh. Was it on Twitter? And
Yeah.
Twitter blows up a little bit, and she gets a little attention and whatever,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
She could have, but just been saying that hoping for attention or whatnot. But I just saw it and I was like, that was really mean.
Yeah.
Here's this fighter that looks up to you, and she's like,
Yeah.
I think I'm ready. I finally want to fight you. And then she's like, nah, stay in your lane, little girl.
Wow.
It's not nice.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, that's a good one you love to hate, and why. I like it. I like it. So what does it mean to be a female to you in this day and age? Or to clarify the question a little bit, or how do you see being a female has evolved in our culture and in sports over the course of your life? So it's like, how do you feel like things have changed, and being a female in this, in this day and age, and how do you think it's affected sports, and how do you think it's affecting things for younger girls?
I think we still have a ways to go, but it's nice to see that back in the day when girls didn't really compete in any sports other than maybe cheerleading, you can see that there's so many opportunities out there for women nowadays, and we're not quite treated as equals in every aspect, but we're getting there, and people are starting to take us seriously. People don't say like, oh, we have to have a girl fight on this card. Like, 'cause I remember when I first started as an amateur, they would promote that, like, come watch this girl fight. And the way they said it,
Yeah.
it was like, do you not understand that, like, I'm kind of insulted by the way you're putting this?
Yeah.
And they, you know, the men don't understand.
Yeah, because they've been doing it they've been conditioned to say those things for so long from, and now it's changing. And so, yeah, it's definitely
Yeah.
changing. Yeah, even for me, I say dumb things sometimes about even guys. And I'm like, and women. I do it about women. My daughter will like scold me. And I'm like, yeah, I guess that was kind of, dumb.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hey, I don't mean to cut you off, but I think my phone's about to die.
And we're heading right out of this. I was just going to
I
say
don't want it to...
any parting words of wisdom. That was going to be my next question.
Sorry, this little thing.
Any
parting words of wisdom?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have a lot of wisdom. No, I would say, I've said it a few times. I think that, from the surgery and everything that I went through, my biggest thing that I learned was we need to listen to our bodies. And like, had I done that, I might have been able to go and have a little couple pokes in the belly and have that thing taken out. And had a better training camp for my fight with Felicia. And, so many people, they don't listen to whether it's their bodies or their intuition or like what their gut's telling them.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to go with those feelings.
Yeah. Yeah. Be aware of what's happening inside as well as what's outside too.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say I'm amazed and thrilled for you and you being the new Invicta FC featherweight champ. Well deserved, and you really worked and you fought for it every step of the way. And I'm looking forward to see your next fight. And good luck in Bosnia too with the American. Yeah, with the kickboxing. That sounds exciting. Geez, if they had an Olympic team, you couldn't get on an Olympic team, could you? If you're an amateur in that. Are you an amateur in that? Would you?
No, because I don't know how that would work. Because here in the States, once you're a pro in like boxing, kickboxing, MMA, you're a pro in all of them. But it's not the case over in Europe.
Yeah, because I thought we have hockey teams that they pick out, regular, and NHL players that play hockey that are on the, NHL team. So I don't know how it works either, but that would be kind of cool too. I can't wait to see what comes next for you because it's always something with you, Pam Bam.
I know.
It's always something. And you always land on your feet, which is really marvelous. I applaud you and congratulations. And I'll look forward to seeing what's next, and you'll be defending the title against and all that. Can't wait to see it again. So thanks for coming on the show.
All right, thank you.
Thanks. I'd like to thank Pam Bam Sorenson for being on the show, and just wow, her perseverance, her persistence, and being so vigilant in maintaining her focus to become the latest and newest Invicta FC champion against all these odds, all these things that were stacked up against her along the way, and she just had the fortitude to knock it out of the park and get that title. And now she's moving on to achieving other goals, which is really awesome. And she's just a great person, and it was great having her on the show. If you'd like to learn more about her, you can check out some of our previous episodes. She was on episode 43 and episode 26. That was about her getting onto the Tough show, and then episode 43 was she discusses the tough road it takes to get an opportunity to get a title shot, and you should check that out. So if you like what you heard today and are eager to hear more, never miss an episode from Evolve WMMA and me, Shirley Devine, by remembering to subscribe, download on iTunes, or you can listen while doing other things by finding us on Automatic, Shout Engine, and Spotify at Evolve Women's MMA. Or if you prefer to watch, you can find the latest episode on YouTube at Women's MMA. So if you enjoyed this episode, go ahead, leave a review because it helps people find the show. And on that review, if you listen to this particular podcast, remember to mention Pam Bam and how she inspired you or motivated you. And you can leave the leave the review on iTunes, of course, which would be super. Or you can go to my blog at evolvewmma.com and you could leave it there. That would be so awesome. And thank you so much for doing so. And lastly, if nothing else, you can simply follow us on facebook.com